Oh, Terex.
Terex, right? So basically the argument is your Terex is not a motor vehicle. Well, it's not an ORV, not an ORV. Okay. So I saw your response this morning. I saw your reply to her response. Did you see those, by the way, the reply? All right. So I think we've all seen the same paperwork. Okay. You want to hit some highlights of your arguments?
I mean, my argument is pretty much the whole thing, and like I said again, this goes back to just trying to label as an ORV. And it's strict ORV, like if I took a monster truck up on the roadway that takes up both roadways, can't turn, make turns in roadway, right? The way the statute's applied, they can be, and for instance, they advertise like Ford Raptors and such, right? They show them in all the commercials going up mountains, same with Jeeps, all, they advertise, hey, take them all off road, right? So the way the statute's written, they can just basically be like, oh, hey, anything with that looks like, pretty much any vehicle is capable of going off road. So at any given time, the way the statute's being applied to me, they can just, any vehicle is capable of being taken off road.
Let me stop you though. Let me stop you. That's actually a different argument. So one argument is your Terex is not an ORV. The other argument is their ordinance or the statute they're applying is just too vague. It's just unconstitutionally vague. Would you agree with me? That's two different arguments?
I think they tie together.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. But the reason I want to make sure we're all on the same page, because I think there's two different responses that could come and two different decisions that could be made. Would you agree with me? Okay. So I want to take them one at a time then. So first is, well, one would be your Terex is not an ORV, doesn't meet the definition. And the second argument would be, and the definition they're using is overly vague. Okay. So, Madam Prosecutor, pick one of those arguments. Let's pick one and we'll talk about one at a time.
Certainly, Your Honor. Let's start with whether or not you all authority.
Just call it Terex. Just call it let's make it specific to him, the Terex.
324-81122.
Oh, give me that again. I was somewhere else when you started talking. Go ahead. MCL.
81101 sub U defines ORV as a vehicle, a motor-driven off-road recreation vehicle capable of cross-country travel without benefit of a road or trail on or immediately over land, snow, ice, marsh, swampland, or other natural terrain. It goes on to give examples of what is included in an ORV and what are not included as an ORV. Here, the utility terrain vehicle, as Mr. Cusell labels it, is an off-road vehicle. Exhibit A that I included in my motion is a.
Let me stop you. I'm sorry. In your reply to his motion, is that where your exhibit A is? Okay, go ahead.
Owner's manual, it particularly is under basic safety requirements. Off-road vehicle, the off-highway use only. This vehicle is not an all-terrain vehicle. It is designed and equipped to be a multi-use utility vehicle for off-highway use only. Use of this vehicle on public roads and paved surfaces is hazardous. Do not operate this vehicle on public roads or paved surfaces. In addition, in Exhibit B, I included a relevant portion of the ORV handbook that is found on the state of Michigan's website, and it includes utility terrain vehicles as an ORV. It also, conveniently enough, includes a photo of a near identical ORV that Mr. Cusell operated back on February 3rd of this year.
Okay. Anything else?
I guess I can go further. Mr. Cusell then goes on to liken it to something like a Ford Raptor, a Jeep, monster truck. The multi-purpose personal use vehicle used for personal family conveyance. MCL 324.8112 sub 1 states that an individual shall not operate an ORV that is not registered under the code upon a street, county road, or a highway. A Ford Raptor, Jeep, and a monster truck all need to be registered in order to operate on.
Right.
Mr. Cusell was not pulled over for his existence operating an ORV, but because that ORV was not registered, did not have a license plate. For that reason, I believe that this motion should be dismissed and, the people renew their request for registration.
I have an objection to that, Your Honor.
Yeah, well, it's not an objection, it's a response, but go ahead.
Okay, well, again, none of the registration or any of that stuff was even brought up, any of it. They slapped an ORV on it because they had me held in the car for 45 minutes on the phones. I have a body cam trying to figure out what to even charge me with because I wasn't pulled over in retaliation. And that is what they pulled me over for. Rating is what was stated and put on there. And going back to the liability or the not operating on highway use, it's referring to, we purchased those, I don't know if that are bought one or used them. They tell you that they come stock to only go about 50-ish miles an hour. You can get a module to make it go highway speeds when they're referring to
I saw that in your response.
the higher speeds, and that would be the reason why. And I think everyone does nowadays see how common these UTVs are, see them all over the place.
I got to shoot you down there though, because you spend a lot of time talking about that you see these all over. That doesn't make them legal. I mean, that just bottom line doesn't make them legal. The fact that some, for example, some communities just kind of like turn a blind eye to golf carts, right? That's not necessarily saying they're legal. That's just saying they're not enforcing them. Now that gets to your other argument, which, does that create an unfair situation? But I gotta shut you down there because just because you see them doesn't mean they're legal. But let's get back to that language you used. Like, I gotta find it. Oh, okay. Do not operate this vehicle on public roads or paved surfaces. I understand your argument is they're telling you to stay off the highway with a stock Terex, but they didn't say highway. They said not safe for public roads or paved surfaces. That's what they said.
What?
So I'm just,
Again, why, just like how they put on bicycles, they wear elbows, knee pads and helmets, right? So
I understand that.
They don't operate on public roadways without a helmet.
I understand that's your take on what this means, but the clear language says don't go on paved surfaces.
Yes, clear language is same with the manuals for, again, dirt bikes, motorcycles, right? Yeah, that's still legal for people to drive around without helmets.
All right.
Because it's a liability issue, that's why they put it in there.
So,
What people do with something after purchasing.
so my understanding is that if you jump through the hoops, if you go through the process, it's possible, you might have to add some equipment to your Terex or whatever. But it's possible to get some of these vehicles registered as roadworthy with the Secretary of State. That's my understanding. If it's got, and I made a list, if it's got bumpers at the correct height, it's got windshield and wipers and rear view mirrors. If it's got all this safety equipment, then you can get it registered and put it on the road legally. Is that your understanding?
Oh, no, in my defense, before this even happened, Sergeant Bryce, there was a bar there.
No. Hold on. I'm talking generally. I'm not talking specifically to you. I'm talking generally speaking. Do you agree with me that there is a process that the state of Michigan has that you can take something that may be an off-road vehicle and you can go through steps and have it roadworthy and registered as such with the state of Michigan? Do you understand? Do you agree there's a process for that?
For certain vehicles, I would say, yes.
Okay, all right.
My specific UTV, they are already equipped and sold road ready.
Okay.
Again, you go back to the disclaimer, just because they put it in there, it's a disclaimer for there.
Then why have you not registered as a vehicle with the state of Michigan?
Sergeant Bryce told me I was well within my lawful rights. I said, I stated numerous times, both to me and my wife at the gas station, right where I got pulled over. Well, previously to this, we even talked about it. We had a conversation about it at the gas station. The BP simply milled. He instructed, even told me, you're well within your lawful rights.
Okay.
He said this numerous of times. And then I relayed this to Officer, I don't know.
The officer that wrote the ticket.
Yeah, right. And then when I asked him, the second interaction I had with him, I asked him, like, dude, I need to get you, which is part of the body cam. I'm still trying to get a hold of these things because I have to take them to court for it. Because they're withholding body cam image. Where I asked him, hey, I need you to get a supervisor to clarify this because he told me I'm not getting a pissing match and drove away. So
all right, stop there. Hold on. Is it your understanding that there's a mechanism by which if the safety equipment is there, then the vehicle can be registered with the state of Michigan?
But it's my understanding that the specific township or municipality needs to adopt or identify certain roadways that they are then able to operate on. As far as I know, the township of Huron doesn't have any that are safely permitted. I do believe that
Hold on. You're telling me if the state of Michigan registers it as a motor vehicle, you guys can still say you can't go on your roads?
I believe it's county owned roads. Or, it's my.
Even though the state says it's a motor vehicle? Because that's my understanding. If the state registers it as a motor vehicle, that's what they're doing after all the safety equipment is there.
But I believe it's for limited use. So like, there's examples in the statute that talks about for limited purposes of, say like parades or something to that effect.
Again, Your Honor.
Hold on. I'm cogitating.
Yeah.
Well, it would seem to me that the township's got to get off its and do something with their ordinances on register. I mean, if the state's out there authorizing people to drive these on pavement and you guys just haven't decided where they can and can't, it sounds like the township's got to get on the board.
I could even look up their one that's decided, to be honest, they said it didn't even exist.
What doesn't exist? I'm sorry.
They're trying to charge them with the code they gave, they said it doesn't even exist, I couldn't
Okay.
look it up.
Brother, you keep throwing new arguments in.
No, I'm sorry, well, I'm just bringing it up. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Let's not get there yet. Make a note so you don't forget to get there, but don't get there yet. I'm having trouble figuring out how the township can tell somebody they can't operate a motor vehicle that the state of Michigan says is a motor vehicle.
Your Honor, I am not specifically prepared to argue that only because Mr. Cruzel's ORV wasn't registered, so it has no bearing on whether or not it can operate.
But it can be.
Souls.
Well, don't get me started with that. I mean, all right, so let's talk about the fact that they've charged you under an ordinance that doesn't exist. My paraphrase of your argument.
Yeah, I've been trying to clarify it too and bring it up too, I've been trying to find it, doesn't even, the code they cited doesn't even exist.
All right, hold on. Let me get to the paperwork.
I just had one fact I wanted to throw.
Hold on. Don't do that. You're confusing me.
Okay.
Make your notes so you don't forget. All right, so if we look at the ticket, offense code is 257311. Authorization code is, I don't know what that is, 00003?
Yeah, I figured.
Is that, I'm reading it 00003. So I guess let's get a clarification from the prosecutor. What is the specific ordinance, statute, whatever, that the ORV on roadway is being prosecuted under?
The Huron adopts the Michigan Defendant Code, which I referenced to, but I also stated in my motion, that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the reply that I'm looking at for today?
Yeah.
All right, so let us both know where to find that. Yep.
My final argument, or my final, sentence before my argument. Ultimately.
Okay.
Or be on the roadway in violation of MCL 324-81122 and Huron Township Ordinance 506-4, which I do have a copy and it is on and available on E-code 360. Which is
Okay. Could you provide a copy of that to Mr. Purcell? You only have one copy?
I do.
That's all right. Mr. Cruzel and I can share it. Yeah, probably helpful. Mr. Cruzel, why don't you let me have that for just a minute. We'll make copies. So then you've got a copy, I've got a copy. You got a copy for yourself, counsel?
I don't, but it's word for word, which is making action.
Let's make a couple copies of it. All right, so while we're waiting for those copies,
I would like to also add, Your Honor, to make this even more interesting, the township is doing, Police Chief, Robbins, we've known him.
hold on. Two,
Not relevant. He keeps believing there's some sort of conspiracy against him. When in fact we're here today for operating an ORV on the roadway back in February. If there's any conspiracy, it's one that Mr. Fusel's orchestrated himself.
okay, hold on, because I think your objection might have been a little bit premature. I don't even know where he's going.
So what's funny about with the ORV thing is because Police Chief Robbins, we've known him forever, he's at our personal ORV, had his, my dad, same thing.
Okay.
He even contacted my dad and had asked him, he's here, asked him to have me call him, because he couldn't call me for legal reasons. And when he said, he brought up and goes, you know, man, you can't have an ORV, bro. So he's trying to work out, he even told me he wanted to work out a deal with me, is what he told me on the phone. And,
That's simply not true.
it's very true. You can text, they actually have to text.
Well, okay, well, hold on. Neither one of you were in on the conversation. So you sit down, let me hear what he's got to say.
So I called Everett, voicemail, he called me back, and he started off saying, no, man, you can have an RV. You and I both know it's not just an RV. And then he goes on to call it, he goes, oh, well, you can't have a motor vehicle. So then he flip-flopped the terminology.
Okay.
And there as well.
But I don't mean this to sound condescending, but what's the point of that story?
But so they're just, the original stop, because again,
There's confusion.
yeah, but you're right, and that's why they kept me in the car so long, because they were trying to figure out what to even do, and that's what they came up with.
Right.
Right, so that's where this whole ORV statute is trying to be applied to my situation.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't doubt there's confusion. I mean, I'm here. Okay. All right, let's get back to the paperwork. You got a copy now, Mr. Crusoe? All right. So counsel, if you can, show us or direct us, I should say, to specific language where the township's hanging its hat.
Sure, so it similarly, identifies the definition of an ORV on the second page.
ORV or vehicles, is that where you're reading? Okay.
And then, it goes on to state.
Are you going to prohibited activities?
So, I am, yes, 5064 from the activities.
S. Is that where you're going?
Yes, I am.
All right, so just so we're clear, so he knows what he's defending against. It's 5064 S is the prohibited activity, and 5063 would provide the definition that you're trying to apply to his Terex.
And, word for word is.
All right, Mr. Crusoe, now at least you know exactly what language you're fighting. Okay.
Yeah, and again, with that definition, law, it even, he said, I put back my army showing that even Jeeps and trucks, they're advertised and sold and shown as recreational vehicles, off-road and everything. This would allow the township or the state to just at any given time be like, oh, hey, we don't like you, so here, we're gonna slap with an ORV fine for any vehicle that's capable of going off-road, because that's just what they want to claim it as. I mean, that's just so ambiguous, it's outrageous.
But I think her argument a few minutes ago, maybe more than a few now, was, but all of those are registered.
But that's not what was the issue with Annie. That's not what I was even, no one even brought it up at the time that I was arrested and stopped, none of that stuff. I was just stopped in peer retaliation. I wasn't charged for any of that stuff. No one brought it up. And again, going back to it, I was previously told I was lawfully allowed to do what I was doing.
What do you think the retaliation's about?
Because I had 2 encounters with this officer, he's a new hire, and what happened was, this all stemmed from the fact that our neighbor.
Oh, just bad blood between you individually?
Well, I guess so, because I didn't even know him for a whole year prior to this. It's even in their notes and everything that my neighbor kept calling, saying we're breakfast driving with our kids. And it's even on the thing that he was intoxicated almost every time he's calling. And they stopped coming out. And Officer Price even said, we're not coming out messing with you guys. We're not doing nothing wrong. And this is going on until this new hire kid shut up. And I told him, I was like, dude, you need to go talk to Dave. You gotta go do it. This has already been taken care of. This guy keeps calling. You even told this lady, when they call in a freaking
Dispatcher?
dispatcher, put in the note several times, the guy's intoxicated, just making calls. And that's why they stopped coming out. I told them this. And then, again, it was the next day after I told him, dude, you need to go get your supervisor here, please, so we can figure this out. And that's when he told me, I'm not getting a missing action left. I mean, I know his body cam's on, I've seen it. And that's why part of the body cam I'm still trying to get, but they won't give me. And there's still other parts and stuff that other body cam that I know is missing, I'm still trying to get a hold of. Because and then Officer Smith, they're in body cam even talking that they were purposely, all that officers, is it side or like, yeah, that he was purposely watching for him. He's on the phone talking about this. He's also on the phone with Everett and a couple other officers trying to figure out applicable laws because he didn't know. They arrested me based off something he thought he could arrest me on. It wasn't even an arrestable offense. And and the only reason he found that out was because he had to call the FOIA lady, Jill Evans. And then the original officer that stopped me, he couldn't even finish filling out the citations. Officer Smith, who was his supervisor, had to get in the car and finish filling out. And that's what they ended up, because he's on the phone the whole time trying to figure out what to even put on the thing to charge him. It's been an orchestrated event the entire time, up to leading how, especially shows even more that there was collusion. It's how I got an unsigned order and all this stuff sent to me. It was more just threatening and intimidation. And that's what.
Oh, unsigned order.
Yeah, and in the very beginning, I got a default order that's unsigned, didn't have.
Oh, no, brother, no, brother.
I know.
Hold on, stop. I gotta say this. Listen, that's just timing. Nobody from Huron Township called up here to one of my clerks and said, screw him. It's because it happens all the time when there's a misdemeanor tracking, people forget to deal with this. We got a speeding ticket you're in default in right now.
Conversations. I mean, well, for people that work in the department, that people are always conversing between the judges and the prosecutors.
But I'm telling you right now, that none of my clerks defaulted you to try to cause you trouble. It's in the computer and it happens all the time. The misdemeanor case is tracking it slower and you don't realize you got to do something different with the civil infraction. So a default enters.
Hold on.
I'm just telling, hold on. I have to tell you, there's no conspiracy against you on that default. That's just the way shit happens. It's just because the computer tracks things differently with misdemeanors and civil infractions. And that's all fixable. Okay. Anything else that we didn't talk? I mean, I cut you off a couple times saying, don't give me a new issue at this point. Anything that you want to bring up?
I got pretty much all my arguments for being here. I mean, this is clearly, but
What's going on with the body cam? You claim you can't get body cams.
He was also reporting this incident himself, so he had.
Well, that's a different issue though. Part of discovery is he's requested body cams. You're saying he provided those.
He's filed at least 10 FOIA requests for township, including any of the stops or any of the citizen complaints that police have been called out to, but also including his wife's traffic stop.
I'm not getting into all that, but you have provided him body cam footage of interactions. You're talking on top of me, counsel. You have provided him body cam footage of interactions between he and the officer that issued these tickets. Yes? All interactions. You don't have them.
I know for a fact there's a couple of videos missing.
All right. Do you have dates of incidents?
I do, but I don't have that stuff with me. That's all part of my lawsuit thing I'm filing for the circuit court for the FOIA lawsuit stuff. I got all that stuff organized at home for that.
But that's stuff that you think you need to defend yourself here.
Well,
If it's not, that's okay.
well, I mean, it would also be just scheduled.
No, I just need to know because if you're prepping to defend for trial and that's discovery you think you need, then I'm going to order that they provide it.
Well, I'm here. I'm
Okay, all right. So you don't need that to prepare for this case.
not this motion here.
No. The underlying charges against you.
Oh, I would absolutely need that if this is.
Okay,
It's gonna pursue forward.
then we're gonna need you to provide dates. So you want body cam footage if it exists from interaction between you and officer so-and-so for this date and that date. All right. Sure, go ahead.
As I said, he has been given all of those. It's my understanding that he initially appealed, the FOIA, which went to the township supervisor. The township supervisor acknowledged the redacted portions were legal material and returned back to Mr. Cusel. He then appealed the appeal, which went to, my office, and we confirmed again that, the only redactions are legal material. I think he's appealed us twice more. So it's not relevant for a portion of it.
Are you saying you never got the body cam footage, or you got the body cam footage and things were redacted?
Oh, well, those are part of the issues too. There's body cam and stuff and that's the problem, is there's all sorts of stuff that's redacted in body cams and in the reports, and then there's stuff missing.
Okay, hold on. Then you acknowledge that they've sent you those body cam footages
So, okay.
for the interaction between you and the officer?
The incident before specifically the one I want, and that I know is missing, is the one before he pulled me over, but the day before he pulled me over.
Okay.
Where I asked for.
Okay.
Missing message drove.
Prior to these tickets being issued, there was an interaction between that officer and yourself. That you've never seen the video,
No.
the body cam footage.
Well, I've been.
Okay.
Again,
Do you know whether or not that's been submitted?
As far as I know, every request of these days has been billed at
All right.
the ESP.
All right, but now you're talking about FOIA stuff. I'm talking about that body cam. That's all I'm talking about is one body cam. Okay. All right. But
This case begins as a straightforward off-road vehicle, ORV/UTV violation, but it quickly evolves into a familiar courtroom showdown between sovereign citizen ideology and enforceable law. The defendant enters court convinced that his vehicle should not legally qualify as a motor vehicle and argues that the law itself is unclear. He claims the police acted out of retaliation rather than lawful authority and leans heavily on common sovereign citizen talking points, including the right to travel, alleged constitutional violations, and accusations of corruption. In his mind, these beliefs should override traffic statutes and vehicle regulations.
you can't, off the top of your head, you can't give me that incident date.
no, that wasn't.
All right. All right. So submit a formal request for body cam footage from that date to the prosecutor. She can check it out, see if it's been submitted to you prior. She can tell you when, she can resubmit it. She can file a motion with me and say, I'm not going to submit that because, and we'll go from there. All right. That's that one specific issue. Agreed? Okay. All right, let's get back to your argument, Mr. Crucell, that the language that we just went over is overly broad or vague. Let's hit that again. So is it the definition of the ORV that you think is overly broad?
Oh, absolutely. It basically encompasses anything they said, it even says, any vehicle capable of cross-country travel without benefit of the road, right? And that's any vehicle, I mean, you can even take a smart car off the road if you wanted to, essentially. I mean, and that's what I mean. I mean, the way this reads, they could just apply that anytime they want to any vehicle, whenever they want.
If I'm understanding your argument, I drive an F-150.
So,
All right. So we would probably agree that we could take that off the road.
but
Do not.
in commercials, showing that's what they.
Right. So your argument is because they could write ORV on a roadway for that means this statute or this ordinance is overly broad. All right. Except they can't because the state of Michigan has licensed me to put my F-150 on the road.
But again, the same point, mine can be the same thing.
But it's not licensed. It can be. It can be. And I would like to see you do that because then I want to see how they're going to keep you off the road. The state of Michigan said you can put that on the road.
But again, Your Honor, that the whole reason that they're trying to dance around the whole thing, because if they didn't bring up none of the registration.
I know, you're getting back to the confusion
stuff, right? They're trying to use the definition of ORV to.
I get with the whole, you sat in the car 45 minutes, they decide what to do with you. I get all that. Okay. And that's problematic for me too. But I don't find this language to be overly broad because there's the licensing aspect of it that narrows it.
So there's that conflict there, right? And that also shows the ambiguity of it, right? So you're saying that if I want to pay a tax stamp for something, then now all of a sudden it's not this, but then they're trying to claim it's this. So how does a tag all of a sudden make this, not this? Doesn't make sense.
Hold on, you lost me.
All of a sudden, so what they're trying to claim is an ORV, but if I magically go get a tax stamp put on it, right, registered, now it's automatically just a motor vehicle? So now it falls under.
Yeah, but hold on. It's not just about the money. And believe me, brother, I'm the first one to think I'm the first one to jump in the bandwagon with you about the government grabbing money. All right. I fight that here. But it's more than that, because let's just pick the specific example of an ORV. I could build myself a dune buggy, right? Completely manufactured. I couldn't because I'm not handy that way. But I mean, you know what I mean. I could get tubular stock and build a frame, and I could grab a motor, an engine off of something else and fabricate a drivetrain, and I could have something that I could take off, go through the trails and the hills. Would you agree with me? No, but I mean, I'm just like build it from scratch, right? I'm Henry Ford. I built it from scratch and it's out there running around. But if I get it registered as a motor vehicle by the state of Michigan, they're putting their rubber stamp of approval on it saying it's safe for me to put on their roads. There's a safety issue, not just a money grab. And that's the way I'm looking at this, because from my little bit of research, if I got to find it, if I want to go through the process to get my manufactured vehicle roadworthy, I've got to have tail lights. I've got high and low beam headlights. I've got to have turn signals front and rear. I got to have a rear view mirror. The state of Michigan is checking all these things off before they license me or register me to put it on the road. And they're saying, they being the state of Michigan, saying it's safe to get on the road with the F-150s that you and I drive.
Yeah, but again, you're giving an example of someone building something. The thing that my vehicle already comes equipped and built and manufactured that way.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference. I can guarantee you that if somebody took the time and researched what these roadworthy requirements were state by state, they would be different. There'd be similarities, but they'd be different. So for Terex to sell it and say it's roadworthy, they're not guaranteeing you that it's legal in Michigan. They can't.
Well, that's why I put those disclaimers on. The other thing too.
Stop. I'm not done with my argument. That's where the registration process comes from. The individual states saying, yeah, Crucell, we think your Terex is legal on Michigan roads. That's the whole part of the process that changes from just any old thing that they decide they want to ticket somebody because they had it on the roadway. They could claim it's an ORV. No, they can't, because it's registered, my F-150, your F-150. It's registered with the state of Michigan as a motor vehicle, i.e. legal to be on the roads. That's what kills your overly broad argument, is because there's a process by which it is no longer an ORV. It's now roadworthy because the state of Michigan is registered as such.
But again, the state of Michigan is arbitrarily trying to convert everyone's right to travel by saying you get this.
That's a different argument.
Yeah, but see,
that's a different argument.
I get where you're trying to go with this. I understand that. But again, you look at this definition, and no one said anything. Again, this all goes back to, I was not cited for no registration. I was not cited for insurance. None of that stuff even was even brought up. It was strictly the ORV that they're trying to stick to. And again, by going off this definition, that can be any single vehicle in the world. Anything that they want is capable of going off road.
Well, but here's my ruling. Here's my ruling. Because there's a process to register vehicles, whether or not they're ORVs, F-150s, whatever they are, because there's a process in the state of Michigan that's to register them as roadworthy, I don't think that's overly broad language. Because I think you can't read everything in a vacuum. So my ruling is, on that motion, my ruling is, I deny your motion that it's overly broad. I don't believe it is. But I still have problems with the way the whole thing went down. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with that. Because, and I think I've told you this from the beginning. I get it. Matter of fact, I think the first day you were here, I get it. You've had interactions with Huron Township police officers that said you're good, and now all of a sudden this guy says you're not good, and here we are. I mean, that's blatantly unfair. Whether or not it was accidental or by design, it's still like, okay, that's not fair, but that's the way things happen. All right. There's not a hell of a lot of there's a distinction, but you know, if I drive 75 miles an hour on 275 every day, and I go by 3 officers, Huron officers, and they don't stop me because I'm only going 5 over, but the state stops me and writes me for going 1 to 6 over. It's kind of unfair, but clearly I violated the law. You follow me?
Yeah, but you're comparing two different departments.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to make that argument up.
Right, which is what I told you way back when. It's like, hey, I get it, it's unfair, but the tickets were issued. We got to go through the process and deal with it.
I can see.
Hold on, stop. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to deal with this. I'm trying to.
Judge Brian Oakley never reacts emotionally or takes the bait. His calm and controlled demeanor actually makes the exchange more powerful. Rather than debating beliefs or ideology, he repeatedly steers the conversation back to one core principle: personal interpretations, online theories, and philosophical arguments do not replace written law or legal precedent. Each time the defendant drifts into
Deal with the unfairness in the process. Okay?
Right, which and I get what you're saying, but again, if I was charging this in, say, Flat Rock, and I tried pulling this, oh, well, Huron told me, then I get that.
Oh, absolutely. Your argument's much stronger in Huron. Absolutely. And once again, I'm feeling it. Okay? I told you from the beginning, I get it. It's not, it stinks. Okay? Do you know what the process is to register the Terex to put it on the road?
I get it with the state's processes to register vehicles.
How long would it take? If you know.
Well,
I don't have a clue.
That's been in part of it. If I was looking to do that, I would, but again, I've been confirmed that I had my lawful right to travel by several different, including, again, this all stems from the traffic sergeant in Huron telling me that I have the lawful right to do what I have to do. So I don't have any intention.
Well, what do you think the chances are of him coming in here and testify to that?
I don't think that he would incriminate himself.
So you're planning on issuing,
I had to meet my wife at the gas station.
so you're going to issue a subpoena to him for trial?
And his fiance or girlfriend, because she was also the one relaying all the information to my wife about the same thing. So yeah, I would absolutely subpoena both of them having come here. I have a whole slew of people on the subpoena in there.
Right. Are you willing to register the Terex? It would help resolve things?
I remember you pointing out that she would like to have a traveling argument. If I got brought into
No, don't go there. Don't go with the traveling argument. To resolve these issues, would you be willing to register your vehicle with the state of Michigan, the Terex?
Not at this point, no.
Okay.
Yeah, there's other arguments that I have lots of stuff to show where the conflict with that is too. But again, that's not what we're here for.
What do you think we're here for?
ORV and road. We're not here for registration, none of that stuff. That wasn't part of.
But I'm trying to resolve issues. Okay. All right, because
I'm not just going to run around and make this big deal with Huron. I'm not a criminal. I know criminal history. I was just doing something I was lawfully had the right to do. It was confirmed I had the lawful right to do. And then now here we all are dealing with all this. And I'm being targeted by people that, and I've got good friends that work in the department. We've been, again, we've known averages. We've been a part of this forever. And then now all of a sudden,
here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you want your trial. Because I don't think anything else is going to satisfy you other than to get the trial.
It's easy to be dismissed, but it should have been, yeah.
But you don't have a legal argument that I can hang my hat on to dismiss it.
I had all sorts of legal aspects to show that the whole beginning of this was an all-awful stop. He
You've
went,
never even argued that. You've never filed a motion to dismiss for lack of probable cause.
at the very beginning, and you dismissed it saying, oh, I find probable cause just because, sure, I have all the recording.
Oh, you did. Yeah, you did. Because I said, you're going down the roadway and you're doing something he thinks is illegal, gives him a right to stop you.
Yeah, but again, that goes back to the point that he was already, we had interactions and he chose to retaliate against instead of going to talk to a traffic sergeant who's above him,
Right.
Who is ahead of the traffic, who's the one that confirmed that I had every lawful right to do what I was doing.
Hold on.
The whole stop was,
Hold on. Go ahead.
Who is above Sergeant Price, and he confirmed that operating an automated roadway is, that's why it's a very true citation.
Yeah, but you don't think it's gonna be problematic if Price sits on the stand and says 2 different times I told him he could do what he was doing.
And also since I did make contact with Mr. Crusoe multiple times notifying him that he was not to operate an ORV in the roadway. And during the stop, Mr. Crusoe himself said I was waiting for this.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna tell you right now, if Price sits there and says on 2 different occasions, I told this guy that he could operate that vehicle on these roads, I can't see any trier of fact convicting him of the RV.
That's true. Why didn't he have him here for our trials?
I don't know.
again, because there's all sorts of issues, and all that paper I've been filing, there's issues the whole entire time. I had no intentions of doing any trial, and I even sat here the other day when I said I'm not participating, especially in a trial that ends in a court that owned by the state, you're owned by the state.
Let's talk about that.
All hand with them.
Hold on. Let's talk about that because I highlighted that when I got your motion last week or whatever it was. Okay. That's not the case. Okay. Huron Township, let me finish. Huron Township is bringing the charge against you. It's the Township of Huron versus you. It's not the state of Michigan.
It is. It says the state of, even one of the, not even says the state of Michigan against it.
It's a separate legal entity.
And
Well-
you know Neil Gorsuch is, Justice Gorsuch? He's even coming out in the Reagan Center, even talking about how courts like these, that's what they're doing. They're denying people their rights and they're bringing the charges and judging their own cases. That is exactly what it is. You can't have a fair trial that way. Absolutely not. And not to mention that.
All right, well, let me stop you. That's the way our system is at this point in time. That's the only system we've got, is where the judiciary runs the courts, the legislature creates the law, and the executive branch enforces them. That's the system we have. If you don't like it, work to change it, but that's the system you've been charged in, and that's the system you've got.
And with the Chevron deference case being overturned, that explicitly stops them all of the referring to the statutory, all the stuff, the statutory stuff.
All right, you're getting nowhere with any of those arguments, Mr. Crusoe. You're not going to get anywhere with those arguments at this level. So the only thing you can do is get a judgment here that you can appeal to the next level and appeal that to the next level. And ultimately you may end up at the U.S. Supreme Court and have somebody agree with you, but you can't, that doesn't work here. We've got to deal with what we've got. I've got to deal with the precedents that we've got in place now, not your arguments that you think are going to be accepted down the road. That's the reality. All right. You and I can sit down over a cup of coffee, or I don't drink coffee, but whatever, and talk about how there are, problems with the system. But the system we have now is the only system I've got to work, and I'm going to work it. So what I'm hearing from you is we got to get a trial date and let you get a decision. If you win, beautiful, you can stop there. If you lose, you're moving up the appeal chain. Because none of the arguments you've got apply here. Your travel argument, I'm not buying that. That's never been accepted anywhere that I know of that I've got any reason to follow. I told you.
State auditors and they've been doing it for a very long time.
Say that again?
The state is, I've lost my word. But the state is going and trying to take people's right to travel and saying that everybody has to have these licenses and all these things.
Absolutely. And but hold on. it's well-established law, might be changed somewhere down the road, but currently it's well-established law that if you're traveling by means of a motor vehicle, you have to have a operator's license.
Actually, the federal codes and how the states again.
This is not a federal court, sir. This is not a federal court.
Okay, go back to motor vehicle, right? Shows again, it's another ambiguous statute.
Okay, look, I'm not going to argue this. I've already argued this with you. I've made it clear from day one that your traveling argument dies. It doesn't go anywhere in this court. So stop arguing that. It's not going to get you to where you need to be, which is to resolve these files one way or the other so you can appeal it if you want to. You follow me?
Well, I get very well to take it, yes.
No, it's not where I want you to take it. It's where you have to take it because we're not going to have these same arguments ad infinitum over and over and over again.
To conspiracy-style reasoning, the judge redirects the focus to the only question that matters in court, whether the vehicle was legally permitted to operate on public roads under state and local law. Clip 3. As the hearing continues, tension builds because the defendant truly believes he is being ignored. In reality,
to close these files at some point.
Should close the month.
But that's because you want them to, doesn't mean it's going to happen that way. I'm not going to dismiss these just because you don't like the way things went down. I don't like the way things went down. But the process has to be followed. As much as I would like to just make this go away, I'm not going to agree with you just to make the case go away.
Really, it's very obvious what took place.
No, it's not. But once again, Mr. Costello, it's obvious to you, but you're not the guy up here in the black robe that's making the decisions. It's obvious to you because that's the only way you can see it. And I get that. Right? I get it. It's your position. You're passionate about your position, but where you're losing it is you just won't accept the fact that I don't agree with you. I'm in charge and it's got to move forward. That's just the reality of it. And once again, man, I hope you appeal it. I hope you make some new law. Good for you.
I mean,
So now we need a trial date.
which I completed the judgment trial.
But once again, I don't care if you object. Listen to me. Listen to me. It's not being dismissed. That means we have to try it to make it go away. That's the way the process works.
Again, how is one supposed to be? And again, you yourself. And I've watched you in numerous other videos. Okay, I've seen you make yourself, you're on TikTok all over the place. And I've seen the things you say to everyone. It's very obvious, and you yourself has even admitted to seeing things the same way. There is no way that I would ever have a fair trial. Any way, shape, or form.
And that's absolute. Once again, just because I happen to agree with the prosecutor or any other party in a case doesn't mean I'm biased against the other party. At any point in time, I've got to make a decision. Somebody's right, somebody's wrong.
That, right, to make it seem like you're not, but it is exactly how it is. The prosecutor and these courts, they work together.
But-
it's all owned by the state.
Then once again, Mr. Crisell, then you need to appeal my decision when I told you I was not going to recuse myself. You should have appealed that. But we're not going to keep plowing the same field. I'm going to set a trial date and you're going to be here for trial or I'm going to issue a bench warrant. I don't know any other way to resolve the file. I've got to resolve these files. You need these files resolved. If you want to appeal me, you got to have a decision to appeal.
Yeah.
So, you keep sitting there and say, I'm not going to participate in a trial. At some point, you have to if you want these to go away. And hear my heart. If I knew of another way to get you to where you want to go, I'd throw that suggestion out there. But once again, I'm not just going to roll over and say, okay, case dismissed, because I don't buy your legal arguments.
Which is, again, wild to me because it's very clearly that this ORV thing is being overly applied because it's not enough.
But once again, it's clear to you. I just told you I don't agree with you. But you can't accept the fact that I might disagree with you. That's unhealthy. I mean, you can believe I'm wrong. That's okay. But you got to accept the fact that I'm in the judgment seat and I've said you're wrong. Then appeal me. That's the way the process works. I understand you think the process is faulty, but that's the process we have. So if you've got some other way to resolve these files, a suggestion, I'm open to hear it, but the only thing I can say is we got to get a trial scheduled and let the chips fall. And I'd love to have you bring Officer Price in here. Because I told you from the beginning, I believe that inadvertent or not otherwise, the Township of Huron kind of set you up to get the ORV ticket. Because I believe that you've been told in the past that you were okay. I believe that.
100%.
But I can't do anything with it here. Put Price on the stand and he says, I guess I was wrong because I told him he could do that. So what are we going to do? You ready to set a trial?
Really, you have no other option.
There is, I don't know of any other option, Mr. Crisell. I honestly, brother, I don't know of any other option.
Well, I mean, again,
Because I can't keep kicking the can down the road. I mean, I can't have this, I can't retire down the road and still have these open files here. I mean, I'm not doing my job. And I don't think it's doing you any good.
been a nuisance.
What's it going on? Year and a half now? Closer to 2. Coming on 2. No, it was February 24. 24. Yeah. All right. So you want a bench trial? Or you want a jury trial?
I'm doing jury.
All right. You're going to represent yourself? Okay. Let's get a date.
Can you do January 30th, Thursday?
You? What day was it? Thursday? Yes. All right. So you're going to send the prosecutor an email with a specific date for that video you're looking for, or that body cam footage, I should say. Right? Okay. No further motions. We're going to trial. Well, the only other motion I'll entertain now is if it's a discovery motion. Understood, Mr. Crisell? All right. Questions? All right. Good luck.
Real quick, I mean, I do believe we're going to move files here in the firm, you guys have a bench warrant.
You got a bench warrant for something?
Yeah.
What's it? A misdemeanor?
And the case number 4.
No else.
You got it?
Yes.
All right. We can get you a case or a court date for that, ma'am. Mr. Crisell, we've got a speeding ticket that's got nothing to do with this incident, I think, from August 21, 24.
It's time this is retaliation stuff.
Okay. Who was that officer?
Also, Harold.
Okay. Did Merrill have anything to do with the other ones?
My wife on her dead end road, and again, that's a
Hold on. Merrill didn't have anything to do with the February incident, did he?
not bad, no.
Okay. All right.
Title of this.
So what are you going to do on this? Once again, it's in default because you didn't do anything with it. So
I
what do
need
you do
to
with
do
it?
that. Paperwork, no one responded to anything to my paperwork.
What'd you file on this?
I got I gave them the bubble in there.
Yeah, none of that does anything. That's more of the that we just ignore that stuff. So you want a hearing? Well, if you want him to prove it, then you ask for a hearing. You don't just file paperwork.
I told her if it wants to schedule a date, you can give me a date. Finish it both ways.
Okay. Okay. Well, you don't ask the clerk if she wants to set a date. If you want to fight a ticket, you say, I want to contest this ticket. I need a hearing. So do you want a formal hearing date? I'll give you a formal hearing date. All right. You want to do that before the jury trial? Sure, I have any formal hearing dates coming up.
We can do it on December 10th, so we'll keep it.
December 10th?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, yeah. Just my regular Tuesday, you mean?
It's a Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
So formal hearing, what time do you do it? December 10th?
Do 10:30.
She's here all morning, so I'm asking you, 10:30?
And that's on the speed.
Yeah, the